New unit is going to be on trig equations. So we're going to start off by looking at how to solve trig functions using a calculator. So what we're going to do right now is first label each of the quadrantal angles. So we have 0, pi over 2, pi, and 3 pi over 2, and 2 pi. And so we're now going to use our calculator to actually write this as a number. So instead of pi, we're going to write it as a number to 3 decimal places. So pi divided by 2, this is about 1.57, and our third decimal place we're going to round up to a 1. Pi is 3.142. 3 pi over 2 is 4.712, and then 2 pi is 6.283. So using these numbers, we are going to put these 4 angles in each quadrant. So let's look at number 1. 5 we know is going to be between 4.7 and 6.2, so it must be in the 4th quadrant. 0.487 is between 0 and 1.571, so this is in the 1st quadrant. 2.5 is in between 1.571 and 3.142, so it must be in the 2nd quadrant. And then negative 3.5, so now we're going in the negative direction. So 3.5 would originally be between pi and 3 pi over 2, but because we're going in the negative direction, we're going to end up back up here, which is in the 2nd quadrant. Okay, so like before, when we convert from degrees to radians, we're still using the same format. So when I convert to radians, I want to cancel out the degrees, so 180 goes on the bottom, pi goes on top. But now instead of leaving it in terms of pi, we're going to use our calculator to get an actual number. So we have 155 times pi divided by 180, and with these radians we're always going to round to the nearest 3 decimal places. So we have 2.705. We're going to do the same thing with number 6. Gives us negative 1.25, and that 6 rounds up to a 7. And same thing when we were converting from radians to degrees. So now this is radians, we want to cancel out with radians, so pi goes at the bottom. So for number 7, we have 5.8 times 180 divided by pi, gives us 332. So with degrees, we're always going to round to the nearest degree. So we're just going to look at 332. The 3 means that it rounds down, so it's just 332 degrees. For number 8.324 times 180 divided by pi is 18.5, so it's going to round up to 19 degrees. And so using our conversion, so if we're converting from radians to degrees, this is just 180 over pi. We're going to find all of our degrees for each of these radians. So 1 times 180, this is 57. Okay, so each of these radians is equal to this number of degrees. Okay. So we can also use our calculator to find trig functions. So this is what we've been doing using our special angles. So what we've been doing for do nows for the last week. And now I'm going to show you how to do this using your calculator. So the most important thing here is to make sure that your calculator is in the correct mode. So on your calculator, when you press the button Mode, you should see that there is a choice of either picking radians or degrees. So depending on which one you are using, you need to make sure you're in the correct mode. So for example, number 9, it's sine of 30 degrees. So we're going to go to degrees, press enter. And then I'm going to say second quit to get back to this home screen. And now I can do sine of 30. So sine, cosine, and tangent are all right here. So sine of 30, because I'm in the degrees mode, it'll give me my answer, which is 0.5. Now let's find cosine, 47.2. I'm already in degree mode. I have 0.679, again 3 decimal points. And so now 11, this is clearly radians, because there is no degree sign. So now I'm going to go back to mode and change my calculator so that it's radians. Second quit again. Go to tangent, and now I'm typing in -5 pi divided by 8. And that gives me 2.414. Okay, so be really careful. So this is degree mode. And this one is radian mode. So number 12, also radians. So we're going to just go into cosine and type in pi over 11. And this is 0.959. Again, 3 decimal points. And again, tangent 3 pi over 2, radian. So I'm typing in tangent 3 pi divided by 2. When I do this, it gives me an error. Right, so when it gives me an error, this is telling me that this is not possible. So what we know is 3 pi over 2 without a calculator is the 270 degrees. So using our unit circle, this is 0, -1. We know tangent is y over x, which is -1 over 0, which is undefined. So the error there tells you that you can't do it because you can't divide by 0, so it's undefined. Okay. Now when you have reciprocals, so instead of sine, cosine, and tangent, if you have cosecant, secant, or cotangent, we're just going to flip whatever we get for the reciprocal. So like secant is the reciprocal of cosine. So what I'm going to do is actually flip cosine of 24 degrees. And when I flip it, it's the same thing as putting, like if it was cosine over 1, it turns into 1 over cosine. So this is what I'm going to put into my calculator. So first, let me make sure I'm in the right mode. 24 is degrees, so I'm going to go to degrees. Second quit. Now I'm doing 1 divided by cosine of 24. And that'll give me my secant of 24 degrees. So this is 1.095. Cotangent is the reciprocal of tangent. So I'm going to do 1 over tangent of -206.7 degrees. I'm already in degree mode, so I'm typing in 1 divided by tangent, -206.7, and that gives me -1.988. For number 16, cosecant of pi over 12. This is in radians, so I'm going to go to my mode, change to radians. And cosecant is the reciprocal of sine, so I'm going to do 1 divided by sine of pi over 12. So I'm in radians. 1 divided by sine pi over 12. And that is 3.864, because the 7 tells you to round the 3 up. Cotangent of pi over 2. So for cotangent of pi over 2, we're going to do 1 over tangent of pi over 2. I'm already in radian mode. When I do it, it gives me an error. Without a calculator, if I were to plot pi over 2, it would be a quadrantal angle pointing up, which is the point 0, 1. Cotangent is x over y, which is 0 over 1, which is actually 0. So something you need to be careful of is with the quadrantal angles, with the reciprocals, sometimes it'll give you an error even though it's 0. The reason being, tangent here is undefined. So if tangent's undefined, the calculator is not going to be able to find cotangent, even though cotangent does exist. So whenever you have a quadrantal angle, you should check it using your unit circle. Always, always.